Hey, this is Home Game. Let's talk about some Madeline Hale books. So Madeline Hale writes these like DM, GM help books that are system agnostic. And the first one that I found from her is Arcane Artifacts and Curios. The only the only downside to her stuff that I can find so far is that I can't find PDF copies or digital copies in general. But Arcane Artifacts and Curios is 413 pages. Pretty thick. It runs about $18, $19 on Amazon, and it's just full of random charts for various things. So it has rings, necklaces, all kinds of clothing, jewelry, armor, weapons, different types of books, journals, scrolls, potions, food, drinks, tools, equipment, containers, trinkets, knickknacks, and then other miscellaneous things like musical instruments and magic tools. The way she organizes her book is also very slick. It's a good idea. So, jewelry, the whole chapter on jewelry is divided into 6 sections. 4 of those sections are D20 tables. They're organized as D20 tables that you can roll a D20, pick an item at random. So you can roll a D20, pick a random ring off the list. But the circlet and miscellaneous are D10 tables. So when she numbers them starting at rings and ending at miscellaneous, and all together it adds up to a D100 table. So if you want a random bit of jewelry that could be anything in that chapter, you can roll a D100 or D percentage die set and get a random piece of jewelry from the chapter. Or you can just roll a D20 on necklaces or earrings or bracelets and narrow down your randomness. But her line work is, or her drawings are simple line work drawings, but they're done really well. It looks like items aren't broken up across pages. Maybe, yeah. It looks like also like on the screen right now you see a few items. The last item on the right hand page is item number 364. And the item doesn't carry over to the next page because then you have to turn the page to finish reading the description. So I really love when books do that. Some big name manufacturers could be better at that. Um, so it's really clean. It's like you open the page and you know everything you need to know about these things is on these 2 pages. You're not going to have to read half of a description and then turn to the next page and read the other half of the description. I really like when they put in the extra effort to make sure that that's true. Here's just another page that I thought had some interesting artwork on it. Like I said, the line work it's some of my favorite kind of art because I really like just line work art. And it's done really well and it's simple. It's not super flashy. So that's the first one I got. And the cover work, it reminds me of like Adventure Time. I really like it. Here's the second one, Table Fables, a collection of tables for a weary game master. So this one's aimed more towards the game master, trying to it has some quests, some combat encounters. These are just like sparking, where Arcane Artifact and Curios is a giant book of items. This one has quest, different kinds of potions, but that one had it too. It has a scars table, So like if you take damage and want to give a scar to a player, it has a table of random scars, missing the last segment of one finger, and even red scars circle both wrists. Puckered white scar runs horizontally across the lower back. Just something to spur your imagination. It has nose types: hooked, delicate, round, straight. Just a bunch of random stuff that I could sit here and try to think of 10 different nose types if I wanted to give a character an interesting feature. And I don't know how many I would be able to come up with. Or, you can set this by your couch or by your bed and just flip through it if you find that fun. Flip through that at night. Get some really good ideas. Here's the index for that. So you can see it has character section, items, areas. So it has descriptions of what, like weather, compass direction, kingdom generator, quest table, different kinds of festivals you can put into your game. All that stuff that just really helps try to flesh out your world. And here's some pictures of the artwork with some of the tables. And there's the back cover. This one's specifically designed around building worlds. So I have now that last book isn't nearly as big as the Arcane Artifacts and Curios. It goes for around $14 on Amazon, and it's 83 pages. But this is definitely one of the ones that if I were, I mean, I am a game master, but this comes in handy for game masters. The Artifacts and Curios, if you love just flipping through magic items and stuff, that's such a great little book. So this one's also a bit small. This one's also kind of small. It's bigger than the one we just looked at. This one's 103 pages. So this is small enough to throw in your GM bag or in your backpack or something and walk around with. Pull it out and give it a flip through once in a while. This has different kinds of adventures, quests, and rewards. Rewards are a lot of times the quest, when you're trying to think of something, the reward often comes before the quest. But that might be, so rewards might have come before quests if I were in the book. But wilderness travel. I mean, I know when I first started GMing, trying to figure out what would happen across long distances of like wilderness or terrain was something I had to work on, and I still have to work on it. Ships, islands, and ocean travel. NPCs and enemies, more items, dungeons, buildings, towns, cities. There's a town generator and an event generator. Worlds and kingdoms. I like that they have a natural disaster table to roll on. Planet generator. I'm getting ready to jump into Spelljammer. Maybe I should flip through this book and take a quick glance at the planet generator. That might give me a little bit of give me a little creativity spark as to something I could throw in the Spelljammer. God generator, cult generator. All good stuff for aspiring world builders or people that really just need to keep their imagination moving, There's a dungeon events and encounters. A natural disaster takes place outside the dungeon. The characters encounter a large room with circular runes chiseled in the floor. A mound of disjointed flesh sits in the center, and any blood spilled in this room will trigger a ritual rising of the flesh golem. You notice that there's no specific stats or ability scores in here because, like I said, all of our books are system agnostic. So this is really just to spark something in you. And then you can apply whatever kind of stats would work with whatever kind of system you're running. And there's the back cover for that. Now, I don't play modern games, but when I saw this, I had to buy it anyway because I thought it would be fun. This one is 183 pages. So it's a little bigger than the last two we looked at, but still only about half the size of the Arcane Artifacts and Curios. I don't know. This one runs for $14 on Amazon too. So the last three books we talked about are like $14 on Amazon, and the first one's 19. And this is considerably larger than the previous two. So if you play any kind of RPG modern, and I don't see the modern games don't seem to get as much support in this respect as fantasy games from what I've seen. Like I said, I don't play modern. Excuse me. But so I'm not looking for it. But the fantasy versions of this kind of stuff is kind of in your face. So naturally, I would believe that there's tons of this kind of stuff for fantasy and not quite as much for modern. So it's nice that this author decided to also make a modern version of her books. So we have characters, supernatural abilities. So there's a superpowers section. Let's flip to that real quick. That sounds interesting. Okay, so there's a table in here that says number of superpowers. Ability strength, but the scale is very weak to very strong. And then there's a list of superpowers. Says the character can suppress the supernatural power of others at will. That's number 1. It looks like it's the D100 table of superpowers. The character has some control over gravity. The character can temporarily paralyze living creatures with a touch. The character can cause others to hallucinate their greatest fantasy. That's a D100 table of superpowers. Starts with power origins. The character's mother was exposed to magic before the character was born, and the residual magic was passed on to the child. So there's a D20 table of origins for your superpowers, a D100 table of different kinds of superpowers. So that's interesting. Enemy encounters. Kind of enemy encounters. Oh, it's like building an enemy. It's not. The number of enemies, their mood, willingness to talk, enemy health. The enemy health is good or wounded. Animal enemies, enemy loot. So yeah, look, I just flipped through and saw some aliens in there too. Cryptids, ghosts, and aliens. That's interesting. Building structures and homes, towns and cities, worlds and countries, food and drink. I guess if you're playing modern, you don't really need a list of food and drink. But there might be some stuff in there that's something you didn't think of. Vehicles, nature and wilderness. Gang goals. Notable features. Most gang members ride motorcycles. Most gang members have the same scar. Oh, these are so if you're forming a gang, what bonds the gang together? Most gang members have the same tattoo. You know, just if you're trying to identify the gang members, how would you identify them? It's like, well, they always cut they brand their forearm or something with a symbol, and that's how you tell. Yeah, that they're in the gang. Natural disasters, like I said, love a natural disasters table. There's the back cover. Yeah, check out Madeline Hale. I bought all of my books through Amazon. There's likely other sources. Amazon usually has some pretty good deals. These don't seem to be on sale. I don't see a cover price on them for me to tell you what, like if Amazon is discounted from normal retail. But the prices are good. Like this one came out December 2022, so they're not even that old. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of books were printed in 2002, 2022, 2022, not 2002, 2022. Yeah, they feel really good. They feel weird. They're not like a high gloss. They got a matte finish, but the cover is, I don't even know how to describe how they feel. Like if you put a stack, if you just stacked up a bunch of books, I'd be able to pick these out with my eyes closed with the way they feel. They don't feel bad, but it's definitely a unique treatment on the covers. So okay, one of my neighbor's car alarms going off, I guess, so it's a good place to end the video. Check out Madeline Hale. Books are awesome. Thanks for listening.